We're on chapter 14. I'm already tired of this book. I am almost to the end, and when I get to the end, I am going to be so sick of her. I'll never want to hear about her again. Like, this book is disgusting. It's full of lies. It's full of manipulation. She doesn't mention anything that she does that would discredit anything that she says. She leaves out a lot of details that we all know is missing in the book. But basically, she starts out the chapter with her being in prison. She's eating a Pop-Tart, she's eating breakfast, and she's thinking about all the things that she can experience now that she gets to live her life. Too bad that she only served 8.5 years while her co-defendant is serving life without parole and maybe never going to have a reduced sentence, which in my personal opinion, he deserves to have a reduced sentence after all this shit. And then her mother doesn't get to live her life, and then his mother doesn't get to live her life either. Like, Gypsy, you have destroyed so many lives, and then you got out of prison and you destroyed even more lives. Like, this is all you know how to do, is ruin people. But whatever. When you go and discard everyone else after your little, you don't need anybody anymore, like your little defenders online, once you go to discard them, I guess that they'll get a reality check, because it's gonna happen. But she then goes and talks about the haters and the supporters and how they're going to consistently change sides. But I don't think that you thought this in prison. You knew that when you were getting ready to be released from prison, the majority of the public was appreciative of you and really wanted to see you strive. They wanted to see you come out and be a beacon of victims and be someone that they can look up to. But instead, you came out and you did shitty reality shows, and you lied and you manipulated more people, and you really showed your true character. This is why people will switch sides. Tells us about how her final moments with her mother before the unaliving was she went to her mother's bedroom, climbed up on the bed, grabbed the pillow that her mother had since she was a child, smelled that pillow, and imprinted the scent onto herself, kind of like a hunter. I don't know why she put that it was like a hunter, or what a hunter would do. Goes into the kitchen, gives her mother a hug. Her mother says, well, I'm not unalived yet. And then they spend time together watching movies, and then they paint each other's nails, or she paints her nails and she paints her mother's nails pink. Fitting, because this was the color that Nick had wanted. So, what? Tells us about how she was watching the clock and watching her mother, and then the minute that her mother fell asleep, she texted Nick and told Nick to go ahead and show up, that her mother was now asleep and it's time to do the act. She gets up, she goes to the electric wheelchair that's next to her bed. I don't know how she was using an electric wheelchair, because she's been telling us through all these chapters that she wasn't allowed to use electric wheelchair, that she was forced to use the manual wheelchair because it was something that her mother used to abuse her with. She didn't want her to have any free-form access to roll around. Like, she didn't want her to do anything alone. She goes to the bathroom, she pees, and Nick then messages her and tells her that he has arrived and he is at the door. She meets Nick at the door and he demands the knife, which she finds in the couch where she has hid this said knife, and then grabs the duct tape that she had cut in strips for him, which I think she leaves that detail out. Funny thing I want to mention here is, in reality, she had been sending him texts that whole day telling him about how excited she was, how he was a hero. She was disappointed that he couldn't do this earlier, like the day beforehand, like they were delayed, that Ruby was going to meet him, that they were going to play out some sick fantasies, that she was more than willing for him to do these things to her, and that she would play the character of Candy and all this. Failed to mention that while she was in her electric wheelchair beforehand, that she had also taken some of her mother's medications, again, also the same amount. Girl, if you are staying high on life all the time, taking the same amount of medication every time is not going to get you that way. Your body your body starts to think that that's the normal. You have to up the dosage. After giving him the knife, he demands her to go into the bathroom and shut the door. Gypsy goes into detail about what she heard during the unaliving. She says that she heard her mother wake up and look at Nick and ask him who he was, and that he told her that he was death. She then hears Dee Dee screaming, please stop. There is a pause, and then he continues to, and then she mentions her mother has one of the times that her mother would try to talk, that she could hear that her mouth was full of blood and that she couldn't get the words out. But then, however, in the next couple of sentences, she claims that her mother screams Gypsy over and over, and she just didn't answer her. She just stayed quiet. And then finally, her mother screamed Gypsy one last time. She brings us back into current basis and tells us that she had never seen the crime scene photos, and that that her attorney kept the pictures away from her, which your attorney is supposed to show you these pictures, and if you go to court, you take any plea, you're supposed to see these crime scene photos to confirm that it is your mother and stuff like that, and that Christy and her dad would also keep her from seeing these pictures, and that she didn't know how brutal it was yet. She had stated before that she had went into her mother's bedroom right after the unaliving, played stuffed animal with her, apologized to her mother, cried. Then she mentions that a fellow inmate of Nick had told the court that Nick enjoyed unaliving her mother, that it made him feel good, and that he wouldn't have a problem doing it again for her, and only for her in the situation that she was in, because he felt that, she didn't say this, but Nick had stated that he did state that he would do it again, he just wouldn't do it in the same manner, and that the reason why he would do it again was because he felt that she was a victim, and that he felt that if he didn't, something was going to happen to her, so he took that responsibility on himself to finish and help her get out of the situation that she was in. She complains that Nick didn't go to her first after the unaliving, that he went straight to the kitchen to find a paper towel, where he cut himself, he was bleeding. And then I don't understand how this happened, but she stated that during this time she was in the bathtub shaving her areas, her legs, and really getting ready for him for the next situation. He goes to the bathroom and then asks for a hug and she states that he demanded that she say thank you, in which he said thank you. And then he had a paper towel wrapped around his finger and demanded that Gypsy clean him up. And she compared this to how she had cleaned up her mother's wounds when she had taken a BB pew pew to her. He holds her for a minute after this, demands her to not wear a wig or dentures and to be stripped bare and then go to the bathroom, or not bathroom, but her bedroom. And then demands her to clean off all the stuffed animals on the bed and to lay there, in which she states that he straddled her, took one arm and choked her, and then took the other arm and held her arms above her head to where she couldn't move, and that she had begged him multiple times to stop and kept telling him no. And I'm not going to go into like full detail about exactly what happened because it's too graphic to really put in a video, but that's the end of this chapter, probably the end of the videos I'm going to do today. But why is she leaving out everything that she did that would make her look bad? And then she had also stated in court that he did not grape her, that this was something that they were into. They were into BDSM to the point, like grape culture in the BDSM. But that's really all I have to say on this.